Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tatum Temia. I am the host of the Blessed and Bossed Up podcast and the CEO of Anchored Media. Make sure that you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you don't miss when we do another video. So today I want to talk a little bit about the pressure of being called. I get this question all of the time from people really in various life stages. A lot of people, the thought of the magnitude of who God called them to be is so heavy to where the pressure can paralyze. It makes them not want to start at all. But today I don't want to talk too much about that aspect of it, but I want to talk about when you're already acting in your purpose. You've already started the business, you've already launched the church, you've already created the podcast, you've already gotten a position, like whatever it is that falls under what you're doing for God. I want to talk about dealing with the pressure of that on the day-to-day, because I know for me, I got into entrepreneurship in 2015. I started with my youth program and I really hit the ground running with it. We were in school within the first year. We were in school as an after school program. I was with that school for a couple of years. As I was doing the program though, I had realized that I like the work, I don't like the business. It just didn't feel right to me, pitching and all of that to the schools and stuff like that, when I felt the problem was so obvious that it needed to be solved. So I pivoted, and that's when I started the podcast. And so I started the podcast in 2017. And so I went from really not having an online presence to launching this show in 2017 to now here it is in 2021. The show reaches millions of people all over the world. We've done a tour, we launched Anchor Media, put out various books and products, and really I've hit the ground running over the last few years. And so there's a lot of pressure that comes along with that. So in this video, I just want to give some tips on how to deal with the pressure of your purpose or however it may be presenting yourself. So the first thing I want to talk about is the importance of mastering both being and being in position. Let me elaborate. When I'm saying being, it's very important as somebody who has a platform and you're doing a lot of pouring out. We call it self-care, but sometimes just being is very important. And when I talk about being, I mean just having a clear understanding of who you are, what you like, being in tune with how you feel, when it's time to take a break, when it's time to rest, being okay with just doing nothing. And so that's one thing that I really went into building a brand online with in mind. So the reason why I started podcasting in the first place is because I didn't want to build a brand on social media being the primary platform, because when I counted the cost and did my research on what it was going to take to build a brand in that medium, it was going to take a lot of, pictures and photo shoots and having my phone up and constantly being online and engaging with people. And I did not want to do that, because that was not the quality of life that I wanted to live. I'm a relatively introverted person, laid back. Like, I don't like all of that. Like, the part of the reason why we do these these content recording days, is so that I can commit to it once a month and then go back to just being regular the rest of the day. Because like, I'm not the type who wants to get glammed up and take pictures and all of that all the time. That's just not my personality. And I didn't want to build a brand that put me into a prison. I wanted to build a brand that was going to allow me to be me and to be free. And be free in being myself. I didn't want to have to perform and live up to this persona that I've created. I just didn't want to do that. If I was going to build this brand online and I was going to speak the things that God called me to speak, I was going to show up as Tatum, because surely God saw value in who I was, or he wouldn't have called me, right? And so when it comes to mastering being, a huge part of that is being clear with who you are and what your value system is. And so for me, one of the ways that I maintain that and I don't allow pressure to get to me is I'm very connected with my real life. I spend quality time with my family. I spend quality time with my immediate family as well as my extended family. Now that the COVID, the pandemic, and outside is opening back up, I hit my friends up like, hey, let's get together. Let's go to happy hour. A lot of my friendships are like years long. Like I went out with my friend, if you follow me on social media recently, we've been friends since we were 14 years old. And my best friend, we've been friends since we were like 15 or 16. So a lot of my friendships, like these are people who know me. Like this whole Tatum Temia stuff, they know Tay. They know me as a person. And so really staying connected with friendships like that matter to me, where I could just go out and talk about anything. I don't have to be deep. I don't gotta pour out. You know, I'm gonna show up for my friends, but I can just be myself. With my family, we can get together, talk trash, you know, eat crabs, whatever. Like we can just live and be. And so that's very important for you guys that are building these platforms and you're walking in your purpose, especially when people are pulling on you a lot. You have to master being. Do not build a brand or a platform that you're going to have to be a prison to. And that's a big thing, even on a business side. I'm not going to get too deep into it. That's why shared value is important. I talk to people when you're building your brand, building on shared value to where you're taking the industry and your target audience's needs and things into consideration, but you're finding the overlap between their needs, desires, and yours. So that way you meet in the middle. So I'm not just giving myself completely to you how you want me. I'm giving it to you in a way to where your goals are going to be met, the transformation are going to be met, but also in a way that I'm comfortable with showing up. That's very important, and we can talk about that in another episode. But again, a great way to avoid the pressure altogether is mastering being. Now, the second aspect to that is mastering being in position. If you're going to do things God's way, you have to be connected. The Holy Spirit is a gift that was given to us to where the Holy Spirit is our guide. The Holy Spirit is present in real time. You don't have to go to your prayer closet and speak in tongues for 45 minutes to hear from God. Like, you don't have to do that. But you have to have an ear to heaven so that you can hear from Holy Spirit in real time. And that's what it means to be in position. So of course, a big part of that is knowing how to hear from God. And so Keviah and I did a video on that. So we'll link that for you guys to go and review it. Another part after, of course, knowing how to hear from God is to spend time with him. So start the day off where you are not hopping right into things, but you're taking the time to pray. You're taking the time to read your word. You're taking the time to just get your mind right and talk to the Lord so that you are surrendering your day and submitting your day and your will and your thoughts and your emotions to him. Another aspect of that, of course, is not moving too fast. So if somebody calls you and says, oh, I need you to do this, not saying, oh yeah, sure, right away. Okay, give me a second. I'll call you back and let you know. And then just taking a second. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be, again, you don't have to run to your prayer closet and pray for 45 minutes, but it can be as simple as giving yourself time to think and not acting on emotions. Or if a business opportunity comes up, you don't have to jump on it right away. This hustle culture makes you feel like if you don't jump on something right away that you're going to miss it. No, what's for me is for me. And I can take a second to think about it. And the part of thinking about it is like, all right, God, what we gonna do? What's up? I remember when the pandemic hit, we had our retreats. And I had one plan for March 2020. So the pandemic, that's right when the pandemic hit. So we pushed March 2020 to November 2020. Thinking that the pandemic was going to be gone by then. It wasn't. So here I am. People have paid. We've sold out 2 different events that we've merged into one. I'm sitting here like, what are we going to do? I had to take a step back. The hotel is calling me like, okay, you know, we need to know what you're going to do about these events. I said, I will get back to you. Taking a step back. All right, God, what are we doing? God says, do it virtually. Cool. I call the hotel back. Look, we are going to do this virtually. So what can we do? I negotiated with them to where my fees are applied now to the retreat that we're having this year, 2021. So I had to put on my business hat. Look, I'm not trying to lose my money. I done paid for this already. So I will lose it off the sake of being obedient. But let's see if we can work something else out. So we moved the money. We're able to move the money to apply it to our next retreat that we have coming up. So I didn't lose anything. Then it was like, okay, I trusted God with that decision. Now, how are we going to take an in-person event that was designed to be in person virtual? And so I had to trust God, take a step back, not rush to do anything like, okay, God, what are we going to do? and just started to execute. It was stressful as I don't know what. I mean, with the vlog that we did from that, I talked about the emotions behind it. It was very stressful, but it was more important for me to be in position in that moment, because I don't take the assignment lightly. Like, it's heavy work when you're doing the things of God, because souls are attached to your yes, you know. So that's where the pressure comes from. And let's talk a little bit about how to alleviate the pressure altogether, because a lot of times the reason why we feel so much pressure is because we're accepting a responsibility that's not ours in the first place. It's not our job to be the solution. It's our job to be in position to execute the solution, if that makes sense. So God is the solution. If you have created some type of system in your business, so for us, the profitable podcast system, that is the solution. Tatum ain't the solution. So I don't got to show up to solve everybody's problems, because that's not my job. When it comes to Anchor Media, it's my job to implement the system that was already created. It's that system's job to be the solution. So that takes the pressure off of me. When it comes to things with Blessed and Bossed Up and the books I write and all of that, anything under my brand, I am not the solutions to people's problems. God is. It's simply up to me to be the vessel to execute whatever it is he's called me to execute. And because I primarily speak, it's my job to just be a mouthpiece. And that takes so much pressure off when you realize that you're not people's solution. When you're so clear about your position in the ultimate purpose and plan, which is just to be the vessel. Even today, as I was coming here to record this, I'm like, I don't feel like it. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I feel like a part of me was like, oh, like now I gotta say something valuable in like 6 videos. I don't feel like it. I just, the pressure wanted to creep in, and I was like, you know what? Tatum, just pull it together. It ain't about you, sis, and you're not the solution. And so what I did was, when I got in the car, I said, God, I surrender my will to you. I surrender this day to you. I surrender every video, every piece of content that we have to record. I surrender it to you. I decrease myself so that you can be shown through me. I know I don't feel like it, but I thank you that I don't have to feel like it. I just got to open my mouth and you're going to speak. I thank you that you know who needs to hear what they need to hear, when they're going to hear it. And it is not my responsibility to try to show up and perform. It's my responsibility to be in position. And so I reestablished my position this morning as your daughter, as your vessel, and nothing more. And I listen to praise and worship music to remind myself that I get to show up for God every single day. What an honor it is for him to tap on me when I was minding my business, not trying to do any of this, minding my business, just trying to be rich and regular. Like my life plan initially wasn't even entrepreneurship from day one. I was cool with moving up the corporate ladder. But God chose me for this, and so I get to show up for this. And that's what I had to remind myself of. And so it's important, again, with this, when this pressure tries to present itself, you have to remind yourself of the honor and the privilege it is to have this purpose and to resist performance. And a huge part of it too is resisting performance. I meet people in person all the time and they expect me to be something different, right? You hear the confidence and the passion in which I speak about God on a platform like the podcast or on YouTube and stuff, but in real life I'm super laid back. I'm not the loudest person in the room. That's just not me. If I have something to say, I'm gonna say it. I'm not shy, but at the same time, I'm introverted. And so I'm not gonna let people make me feel like I have to perform. Or if a conversation about God comes up or God in business comes up, I'm not gonna hop up to be like, oh, I have to say something because that's my brand. I don't gotta say nothing. If God is not giving me something to say, I don't have to say anything. Somebody else can say it if the conversation came up, or if he's using them, he can use them. I'm gonna sit here until he tap on me. You know, and so even in events, I try to reinforce that, where people, you know, they start to tell me their stories, and I appreciate it. You know, I do enjoy hearing just how what God has done through the different platforms has impacted people's lives, but I don't take it too much to heart. Usually I'm like, all right, calm down, like I'm not that important. But even with that though, like if you come to my events, I'm not the one that's going to be escorted in with an armor bearer, or somebody has this section and you got to go to security to talk to me, or I'm not like that. I'm not going to perform. So when it comes to even events, if we having lunch, if it's a break at the retreat and we having lunch and I'm hungry, I'm going to go sit at the table with the attendees and let's have lunch and let's talk. Or at the tour, I'm at the check-in table saying hi to people. Like, I remember one time at the tour, someone was a nursing mom, and she was asking one of the team members about where she could go to pump. And I'm like, oh, I brought her back to the speaker's room where the speaker's getting ready. Girl, take care of your business. I'll step out. Like, you don't have to perform. And I feel like when you get into that performance mode and you let the followers and the testimonies or what people are saying about you, or the list, all that get to your head, you then get into performance, and that adds more pressure, and it also takes you outside of the will of God. And so again, understanding your role in the purpose, which is to be a vessel and not the solution, is really, really key to not taking that on. So I'm gonna stop this right here. Stay tuned for part 2 of this video. Thank you guys for watching the video. Again, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you don't miss when we do another video.